do you love about Charles?
That giant neck. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
People suck. She's a person trying to hang out with the guy with
That
the
she
biggest
loves.
neck
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
F1. Let them live their lives.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
I feel like if you were to ask me this a year ago, I probably would have said Verstappen. I mean, I just did not like how he handled that incident with Checo around, like, don't tell me what to do, like, you know, I'm here to win, and just like really didn't put him in a position to be successful. Like, but I would definitely say like Max. I also don't love Lance Stroll. I mean, he's always dead last, so it's just like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I think he needs to pick a different career.
Remember his whole controversy too with the necklace? That gave me, even before the pearl necklace, remember he was wearing like,
the chains.
The chains.
Yeah.
And everyone gave him such a hard time about it, and it was what it was. It was blatantly like a racist thing. No one wants to be number 2.
Yeah.
You don't want to be number
No.
2 behind Max, and they're just like, hey, let Max win.
Yes.
Like, I really miss Gunter. Who would he always talk to?
Gene Haas.
Gene.
He'd be like, Gene. He'd be like in the corner. Gene.
Gene, you won't believe it.
Hi, I'm Natasha from Milkshake, and I have 3 special guests with me today. Amanda, Shani, and Malcolm.
Yay.
So obviously the Vegas race is on really late tonight, 1 a.m. in the morning for us. Hopefully we can stay up. What are you guys most excited about?
I just think, you know, the fact that it's in Vegas, it's a 10 o'clock start, it's super late, it completely goes into the vibe of like being in Vegas, being out. I just think the whole atmosphere just brings like a really cool level of excitement to the race. So I'm very excited for that.
Nice.
Yeah, doubling down on that. The sex appeal of Vegas, baby. The lights, the glam, the fun. Love it. And apparently Vegas gets really crazy, like actually when F1 events happen. We were there for work, what was it, like last year? And everyone said that it was complete madness, like the most fun. So yeah, I think it's just, you know, the hype behind it is what I'm most excited about.
Well, which driver are you guys rooting for?
That's a tough one. I feel like my favorite driver is Lewis Hamilton, but I know he hasn't really been Lewis lately, so we'll see what he does next year in Ferrari. But I'm really cheering for Carlos Sainz. I feel like he's been performing really well over the last like several races, so I feel like he's got a real shot at it. So I'd love for him to leave on a high with Ferrari.
Yeah, no, he has 3 late races left, and he's got a real shot to win today, and that would be amazing before he heads off to Williams. Shani, what about you?
I know that this is kind of an unpopular opinion, but like when Lewis Hamilton isn't just dominating, I feel at peace. It was so boring for so long when all he ever did was dominate, but now Max does the same thing. So I don't know. I'm personally a Charles Leclerc girl, obviously.
Yeah.
Malcolm, who knows who you're going to cheer for, but so I guess I'm going to cheer for him because it's just so cute.
Yeah.
Don't tell
I
your dad.
hear you. Yeah, when Max was winning all those races last year and this year, it got really boring. But something very exciting about the Vegas race is Pierre Gasly qualified in 3rd.
Yeah.
And that is a big shocker that Alpine's like up at the front there. My race prediction is that he's going to win, even though the odds are small. They got to root for the underdog. Who do you think is actually going to win the race?
I'm still going to stick with Carlos Sainz. I feel like he's got a real chance. I feel like George will come in second, and I have a feeling Max will creep his way into pole. So we'll see.
Yeah.
That's why I think Max is just going to creep his way all the way up and just take it.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
that's my vote.
Although this year has been a lot more fun to watch because it hasn't just been the Max Verstappen show. Like,
True.
it's been way more competitive. Like, seeing Lando and his performance, it's been a lot more fun to watch.
I read the most heartbreaking interview that Lando gave about how sad he was after the Brazil race because he essentially kind of came to terms that it's likely not going to happen this year, that he wins the championship. And he was essentially saying how he was alone in his condo in Monaco and he wasn't talking to anyone. He was having a really hard time coming to terms with it and overthinking all the scenarios of what he could have done better. And then he talked about that in the driver interview yesterday, and I think why I love him so much, because he's like a normal guy. He talks about his emotions.
Yeah, talks about how he actually feels and makes it real.
Yeah.
I feel like if Lando doesn't win this year, I mean, what a career, what a year he's had. Like, I feel like he's moving up so
true.
quickly, and like, who knows what's going to happen next year,
Yeah.
right? With all of the changes coming to the car, like I feel like it could be a whole different ball game for drivers next year.
Totally. Let's switch gears a little bit. So you both mentioned Craner, you love Lewis, and
Yes.
Shani, you love Charles. Let's talk about that. So why do you love Lewis?
I just feel like Lewis is a brand. Like he brings so much to his to the culture of the sport, to, like who he is as a person. I just think he's a good person. Like I love his loyalty to, humanitarian efforts. He's always volunteering. I love that you never really hear about Lewis in like a bad light. Like he's always just shown very well and like does good things. I also, being a big dog lover, I love that Roscoe is like his child, and like he just, I don't know, he just screams just like positivity, and I love like how he has gone through a really tough time since 2022, and I just think the way he's handled himself coming out the other side and like really saying like, it's okay if you're struggling. Like he's just been real, and I just really, really respect that about Lewis.
Yeah, a moment from this year that I thought was critical was when he won Silverstone.
Yes.
And it was really heartbreaking to hear him talk about, how he had all these doubts about his like talent and whether he could, be able to win a race again, because I think it'd been about 2 years, and to see like the greatest of all time kind of doubt himself made him so human, and I love that about him.
Yeah, totally. And his fashion too.
Yes.
I was just going to go there as the person who was saying, like, it's nice to see him not totally dominating from a race standpoint, too. I'm not a Lewis hater. He is a fashion icon. I love everything he's putting out there from a style sense. Remember his whole controversy, too, with the necklace? The chains.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone gave him such a hard time about it, and it was just... It was what it was. It was blatantly like a racist thing, and I was just like, good for him for just digging his heels in and being like, I'm gonna wear a necklace.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
No one else is catching any heat for this but me. I thought it was really good on him. So he's a badass dude, and I really like him. But yeah, I do like it when, it's not the same guy winning all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, now it's Max winning all the
No,
time.
competition makes it more fun.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Charles. What do you love about Charles?
That giant neck. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. What's not to love?
As the mother of a baby with a very rock solid neck, I'm told, I really appreciate that the guy has the strongest neck in F1. Like his neck connects to his head. All jokes aside, he is categorically handsome.
Yes.
I love his style. Are we gonna have a moment for like the women that he's had in his life too? I think he's always had like cute GFs. He's got a type.
He's definitely
Yes,
got a
he
type.
does.
Cutie dark-haired girls. I'm like, wow, like they just look so cool together, and they've got great fashion sense together, and they're, they just ooze elite. Like, I don't know. I like his whole aura, and I do like him as a racer too, and I love that he's had the whole Ferrari history. Like, he's someone that I enjoy rooting for.
I'm surprised you didn't say that he's from France and you love the French.
No,
aspect
he's
of it.
Monegasque. He is
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but French enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
You can't forget about his dog, Leo.
Yes.
Very cute.
The dogs of F1 deserve their own segment.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
I feel like everybody has a dachshund, long-haired dachshund now. Like I'm seeing so many more
Yeah.
of them now, like the golden dachshunds. They're so cute.
I am trying to convince Dylan so badly for us to get. Maybe that should be my Christmas present.
Yeah.
It's almost like having a miniature golden retriever, which
Exactly.
Dilly loves. So you just
Exactly.
get a shrunken golden
Exactly.
retriever. Exactly.
And I think it'd be very conducive for your home as well.
yes.
Yes.
Imagine it just sitting
Yeah.
next to you on the
I know.
podcast, just like
Exactly.
regal,
Um,
little blondie.
whose style do you relate with the most, or like maybe get inspired by?
Probably Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although she's very serious.
Yes.
Like, so, but I feel like there's another side to her. I don't know. But I think her style is spot on. I know she does a lot with like aloe and just the fact that she does a lot of modeling. Like she's just very put together all the time. And I think I really relate to her style. I also, I'm going to go with Kelly.
I was gonna say, what is it? It's Susie Wolf.
Yes.
Like, there's a part of me. So this is all aspirational. Even like all of Shal's girlfriends, I'm like, wow, great style. I aspire to have that type of style. I, however, do not. I get puked on 14 times a day, so it's just not a thing. But Yeah, I think those two are like right up my alley. I would absolutely love that. What were those goofy like gummy bear bracelets that Shal and his girlfriend were doing? Like I loved those. They were so, I don't know, different and kind of funky. I was like, oh, I could get down with that.
Yeah.
But
fans would make all the drivers those bracelets and they would wear them.
So cute.
My favorite girlfriend style is Charles's girlfriend.
Yes.
I just think it's super feminine, really girly.
Classic.
Lots of dresses. It's like summertime all the time.
Yeah. Well, she's got a great tan too, so
She does.
it's like she's always really well put together. Yeah.
Is she how do I say it again?
Monegasque.
Monegasque or Monegasque.
So. She's also an artist. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't know that.
She is an oil painter. And she works in Art Gallery Monaco.
Oh, very cool.
I know.
How did they meet?
I
if you know?
don't know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know. And it was also kind of controversial, the timing of it all with Charlotte before.
Right.
You know?
Spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember it was like all of a sudden he was with the last girlfriend
Yeah.
and then this new girlfriend. I was like, wait, dark haired, like pretty, beautiful, well dressed girl. I was like, that's not the same girl.
But people are really mean because, there was a lot of comparisons.
Yeah.
Like, is this like the better version or the different version? And it's just like people can be
People
so mean
suck.
about that.
Yeah, people suck. It's like, it's just, she's a person trying to hang out with a guy with
That
the
she
biggest
loves.
neck
Yeah.
in F1. Let them live their lives.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. Okay, let's talk about maybe least favorite drivers.
Ooh. I feel like if you were to ask me this a year ago, I probably would have said Verstappen. I mean, I just did not like how he handled that incident with Checo around, like, don't tell me what to do, like, I'm here to win, and just like really didn't put him in a position to be successful. Like, so I feel like he was just not a great teammate and just has shown a lot of that true colors of like almost like selfishness in a way.
Definitely
And just like, but I also feel like I've seen a different side of him in this year a little bit. I feel like he's starting to become a little bit more humble and down to earth a little bit more, which is great. But I would definitely say like Max. I also don't love Lance Stroll. I'm very surprised that he's even in F1. I mean, he's clearly there from his father.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's always dead last. So it's just like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Like, I think he needs to pick a different career.
I've actually heard that if his dad, Lawrence, wasn't in F1, he would actually be a professional tennis player.
Interesting.
He's amazing at tennis.
So, like, go do that. I'm going to double down on that. Lance Stroll has always been my least favorite because it just feels so, like, Nepo baby. He's in there driving around and, like, his dad's money. It's just so aggravating that he's also blatantly terrible. Yeah. It'd be one thing if he was, like, moderately good.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot of hate. This is like mean. I'm a nice person. I think he's probably a nice guy. I can't stand it. I can't tolerate it. Yeah. There are other people that should be driving there.
Yeah, Max, I think the one thing about Max I always come back to is like you still kind of have to respect his desire to win at all costs.
Definitely.
And even if you don't like it, like I don't like what he's doing to Lando, and I think he's taking advantage of the system and the rules. But at the same time, if you were in his position, like you want to win. So
he's a pro, right? Like it's kind of like the Michael Jordan thing when everyone found out that Michael Jordan was like a real difficult personality to be around in competitive sports. I think Max Verstappen, again, to your point, like you've got to respect the hustle. You've got to respect that guy is just a true competitor, and that's why he's the best, right? He's willing to do whatever it takes to get to choose you to win and get to the top, even if that's at the expense of like his teammates. So it doesn't look good, and I think it makes him come across like a bit of a jerk, but
it's all business at the end of the day. Yeah.
So let's change gears a little bit. How did you both get into F1?
Oh, Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
I mean, full stop. The racing wasn't even really on my radar. I would say my husband was more into it, but like it just didn't even hit my radar until that show. And I think that's been like the epitome of so many other sports kind of following in that direction, which I think is so cool because I feel like you get a really true sense of the lifestyle, the talent, how hard that life is.
Yeah.
Of course, all the drama and the dynamic behind the scenes. So it's it's definitely brought in a whole new aspect to that sport, which I think has been really exciting.
And was Lewis who you fell in love with or got a crush on during Drive to Survive, or was there someone else?
Well, yeah, I just think, like, to Shannon's point, like, the fact that he was so dominant, I actually loved.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, this guy is incredible, but then everything he brought to the sport I thought was so cool, too. And then I'm not gonna lie, like I really liked the drama between him and Max. Like I thought it was so interesting. They clearly do not like each other, and I thought that was very entertaining. But I also really loved the principals. So like Toto Wolff and Christian Horner, like just really enjoy their personalities and their dynamic and their rivalry in a way. Like I think that's been so fun to watch. So, but yeah, definitely the show, Netflix, like kudos to them for bringing that on.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Same for you.
That's how we got into it too. Same thing. Like husband was into it, probably like a little bit more fringe. I wasn't even really aware of it. Like I had never thought about it. But again, the Netflix documentary, it gets you more invested in, and I think like what, Milkshake is doing too, is like you understand who they are off the track, right? And that's so much more interesting. Yeah. You get so much more invested in their careers. Like you understand just how, high the stakes are for them personally as well. So it makes it a lot more interesting. Going back to just like the competition piece too, like Toto and Christian Horner, such big egos, constantly wanting to outdo the other. The same goes for all the guys, even teammates. Like, remember the very first season of Drive to Survive of Ricardo and Verstappen? And it was like, no one really knew. I did not know who either of them were. Yeah. But watching those two, they're teammates, and they hated each other. Or at least they made it look like they hated each other. And they would, rather crush one another than lose kind of thing. So I found that to be really interesting about the sport itself, too, where it's like, yes, there's a team aspect to it, and you're winning points for your team, and it matters, but it's guys who are, like, they've got crazy egos and, like, such an insane competitive nature that, they do whatever it takes to win. It's pretty wild.
Also, talking about Ricardo for a second, because I still think that was his biggest mistake, was leaving Red Bull when he did. Like, it's almost too bad that he couldn't put aside his ego a little bit and just, like, have stayed with the team, because I really feel like it was the downfall of his career since he left Red Bull.
Yeah, no, he went to Renault, then McLaren, then...
It's like, who remembers?
I know.
Yeah. And he could have just stuck it out, right? Like accepting, and I think that's another thing that these guys just can't do, right? Because you're in this sport because you're a little crazy. And you're crazy about winning, you're crazy about being the best, and I think he just couldn't handle, no one wants to be number two. Yeah. You don't want to be number two behind Max, and they're just like, hey, let Max win. Like, you gotta, like, don't jeopardize our points. Yeah. Like, let him win. Like, he could never do that. And it was at his own peril.
Yeah, it was so hard to see Daniel's, like, F1 career that he lost so much confidence.
Yeah.
My heart goes out to him. Like, I felt like he was just such a goof. He brought such a great amount of personality. And he's funny. What got me hooked on F1. I was like, oh my God, he's so funny and stupid. Like, and he really made it feel like these are real people. So yeah, watching his kind of spiral downward was unfortunate. But
well, it's funny though, like even though his F1 career kind of went downhill, his personal brand skyrocketed.
Heineken,
his brand.
All of his endorsements are really funny.
I love his.
Yeah.
The clothing line? Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah. Actually, I'd be remiss if I didn't say one of the things that got me into F1 too was Gunter. Yes. Like, I really miss Gunter and the swearing and just,
that
like,
accent.
The comedic, element he really brought to the sport. He's just such a funny guy, and just how angry he would get.
Yeah, I know.
But he brought him out, again, at, like, that human level of just, like, he was like, oh, fucking it is what it is. And he would just kind of storm around. I was like, this guy's incredible.
Yeah. And who would he always talk to?
Gene Haas. Like, Gene. He'd be, like, in the corner. Gene.
Gene, you won't believe it.
You're good at that. That was really good.
He was great.
We're so excited for the Vegas race. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to follow Milkshake for all your F1 related news that only girls want to know about.